Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Thanks for joining us today. We're here for a series that we call Meet the Candidates. Meet the Candidates. And today we're here with Wendy Bozel. She is a Democratic candidate to be mayor of the city of Baltimore. Wendy, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Hi. Pretty good. Thank you, Leon, for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. And so what we want to do, we were on the debate with five Democratic candidates, and I think it's important for folks to know more about you so that when it's time for them to go to the ballot box, they know who they're voting for. So let's talk some. So you're running for the mayor of city of Baltimore. How long have you been in Baltimore, Wendy? Tell us how long you've been in Baltimore and tell us what you do professionally.
I've pretty much been in Baltimore my whole life. I did move out to get married, but then when I got divorced, I came right back. I've always worked in Baltimore City. I've been a Baltimore City teacher for 10 years. I lived with my grandmother for 10 years. I grown up like in Highlandtown area
Oh
and then
yeah,
Gardenville
okay.
area. And I've
Mhm.
always worked in the city. My
Okay.
dad went to Mervo,
Your dad went to
and
where?
my mom went to Catholic High.
Oh, where'd your dad go?
Mervo.
Mervo. Okay. Sweet, sweet. And what about
Mervo.
you?
Mhm.
Where'd you go?
Well, I went to Maryvale Preparatory
Uh,
School for Girls because my parents
uh-huh.
wanted me to have a Catholic education.
Right, right. Yeah, sure. I'm familiar with that. I am a product of Mount St. Joe.
Okay, so you know.
Yeah, I know. And talking about Catholic education, I also am a former basketball coach and athletic director at Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Essex.
Oh, well, I'm impressed with
So
that.
I know a little about that. Yeah, right on. Right on. So you're a teacher. Tell us about what you teach and how you do it, and tell us how cool education is right now. Then we're going to get in to talk about some of your plans for education. But how long have you taught? What do you teach?
Okay. All right. I'm a career changer. So I was a director for United Cerebral Palsy, and then I switched and worked for Nielsen TV rating in the corporate world for 10 years. And then I decided to switch because what I could tell people was like, oh, I can tell you the top 10 TV shows. I didn't think I was doing something to really help. So I went back, got my master's at Coppin by going to night school there. It was a great experience. I have my Coppin colors on now. And I am a Baltimore City special ed teacher, and I work with kids that are in the hospital. My first assignment was at Sinclair Lane Elementary School. And when I first got there was no heat, and they didn't have heat for 3 years. So that started me on the journey to figure out what can we do to make our schools better.
Wow, no heat?
No heat, 3 years.
Oh my
I
goodness.
just
So wow.
don't understand how that was even allowed. And I just had the parents just they don't listen to me. Just please complain. So they started complaining North Avenue, and then North Avenue came up with a solution, and they brought in a portable boiler, like a truck, that pumped hot air into the school with no regulation. So then half of our school was 100 degrees and the other half was 30.
Uh-huh.
So we were always sick.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. That is something. So now here you are running for mayor of Baltimore.
Yes.
So just high level for right now, why? Why would anyone there's three jobs that I always say you have to be halfway crazy to want to do them. And here's what they are. Number one, president of the United States, mayor slash or governor of any jurisdiction, right? And the
Mhm.
next one that I share with pastors all the time is pastoring a church,
Mhm.
right? Because
Yeah.
there's so much pressure on you in those positions. There's so many people counting on you to do things. And often you, the decision you make, half the people aren't going to like it, right?
Mhm.
So why? Wendy? Why would you subject yourself to that? Why do you want to be mayor?
Well, after not having heat for 3 years, I decided I wanted to go and get a different teaching position where I would get some heat. So now, for the last 5 years, I've been a home and hospital teacher. So I had to start going into hospital rooms and teaching kids that had been hurt. Last year, we had 122 students that were shot. I have to go into hospital rooms and teach kids that are paralyzed, they can't walk anymore. And when I walked into one room and a student said to me, "You totally failed me." And I thought about that. And we failed a whole generation of kids with our education. And I knew then that I had to do more than just teach, that I had to work to make our school system better and to make our city safer. And so there are my two motivations, because I can never get that out of my head of constantly walking into hospital rooms and seeing kids shot and not know that I had to do more to help our city.
Hmm. Hmm. Now, you mentioned that you're teaching children that are in hospitals after they've
Mhm.
gone through a tragedy.
Right.
What and there's a we know that there is an increase in youth violence in Baltimore, and
Mhm.
there's youth crime.
Mhm.
And one of the things we hear a lot is, well, that's youth crime is everywhere. Okay, okay, maybe it is, but that doesn't mean we have to accept it. It doesn't mean can't do anything about it.
Mhm.
What do you have? What can you offer the voters of Baltimore as your plan to
Mhm.
against youth crime to change that trajectory? What do you have for us?
I have several plans that I would like to implement. But the first thing is, when I pulled all the different students I was having and from different schools, and I pulled their school records, every one of the students that had been shot and paralyzed had missed 50 to 100 days of school. And they were 2 years behind, basically, because they're missing school. So 58% of the students in Baltimore City right now are chronically absent. So the first thing we need to do is address the issues that are preventing kids from going to school. And one of the first things is that some are working late at night and then they can't get up in the morning for school. So we have to address that. Then we have to talk to the parents and let them know that it is a Maryland state law. We need to promote this, that after 3 days, if you don't have a good reason for why your kid is not coming to school, that you can face a fine and you can face court hearing. But I don't want to do any of that. I just want to have parents know that it's a law. You need to get your kids to school. And then there's programs that we could do to help parents to help get their kids to school. Another problem is transportation. I have two kids that I call early in the morning. I have to call them at 5 a.m. to make sure they wake up so they can get the bus. And they do that because it's called school choice, where they get to pick the school that's probably better for them and hopefully get into that school. But then they have to worry about the transportation to get there. I want to, the next thing is to work with our $1.7 billion budget, and let's work on transportation for kids and make sure that every school is a good choice, so you don't have to travel from one end of the city to the other, and to also help kids get to school, because they can't rely on our MTA to get there. We need those yellow buses. We need to have a protected way to get our kids to school, because some kids are kind of afraid to, even where the parents are, to send them to school. And that's another
Hmm.
issue in itself. So we need to address those issues and talk to the parents. Right now, principals can't do that. They can't build a relationship with their parents or with the students, because each principal, we have 164 of them, are in charge of 10 to $20 million budget, down to payroll. So I don't know how that actually it happened. Alonzo, he decided that he would take away having everything centrally done at North Avenue and make every principal responsible for their budget. They're not CFOs. We need to pull the budgets back, do it centrally. As a teacher, every time I would ask for something, books, computer, my overhead was broken, I was told, no, it's not in the budget. Well, I tried to figure out what would be in the budget if books weren't. So it's not that it's not in the budget, it's that principals are given this responsibility, not our school system. Like when there should be like a department for literacy, you get your books. Uh, the IT department would take care of computers, and that's how every other district is run. We wonder, where did the 1.7 billion go? Well, because the principal's really not sure where it's going or what's happening with the budget. So once we pull that back, then principals could do jobs like, make sure the teachers are teaching, meet the students, work with the community, and build those types of relationships that can make a difference in the school and in the student's life. So let's get back to do a central budget for our school system.
Let me ask you some things about what you just said there. So one, the school bus thing.
Mhm,
Now, so there are kids that are afraid to go to school,
mhm.
right? Because of, you mentioned transportation on the bus, but once they get in school, so kids can't get to school in some cases, right? Is that
Right. Or
is that
if
correct?
they didn't make that 5 o'clock bus, then the next one will make them super late for school. Then we have kids also, I forgot to mention, is uniforms. We have kids that make the effort to get to school. They maybe have one uniform. And once that's dirty, they don't want to wear that anymore because they don't have a washer and dryer at their home. I'm saying, let kids come to school, regardless if they
Yeah.
have the uniform or not. They want to wear a hoodie. I don't care. Just
Hmm.
get to school.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that hoodie can cover up a lot of issues for a child. So
Yeah.
let's just go with the hoodie. And the main thing is, I want our kids to go to school.
Wow. Yeah. See, these are things that I think that a lot of citizens aren't aware of what's going on and some of
Mhm,
the ways that they start, right? And
mhm,
so you articulating your solution, you're also letting us know what some of the problems are, right?
mhm,
That folks need to be aware of. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about air quality.
mhm.
What are And that was a question that we had a lengthy conversation on in the debate, particularly at near the end of the debate about air quality in Baltimore.
Mhm.
Well, how are you going to improve it? What are you going to do? What are your plans?
Well, the biggest problem is when you see off of 95, there's that big stack, and it is a incinerator, and it's owned by a company called Bresco. So right now we have to work on eliminating the contract that we have with them. And what they do is, it's so complicated. We They get an energy credit right now for burning our recycling. So instead of recycling things, we burn them in an incinerator. So that's putting in harmful, toxic chemicals into our air, like burning our plastic. So what we need to do is to 80% of our trash is can be composted. And right now we are given a grant, but hopefully we won't lose the money because we do some cases in our city so far. But anyway, it's supposed to go to making a composting facility in Baltimore City, and this would bring in another like 2,000 worth of jobs for our city. Bresco just gives us a couple hundred jobs, and by composting, we can reduce, almost get to 0% waste, where we'll have no need to be burning things at Bresco. So we have to move to composting. We have to start doing that now to help people get the idea of what it is, get the carts available, and teach people about composting. Because once we do that, they do that all over Europe. They have recycling, they have trash, and they have composting, because that is a way that we can make our air quality better if we're not burning trash and recycling.
And the air quality, you mentioned in the debate that there are folks have asthma. Is this
Right.
affecting
It's
children, and can
double.
that tie into them going to school and so
Right.
forth?
That is another issue of going to school, because a lot of our kids are sick and they have asthma. We have double the amount of cases of asthma than the whole country. Double. And it's all because of their air quality. People leave our city because of our air quality, which is a shame.
Hmm. Wow. Let's talk about one of
The
the
plans are to
current.
build this facility at Bully's Quarters, is where the facility will be built. It's
Okay.
just that we have to make sure that we take advantage of the money that we're getting from the federal government for that.
Mhm. Okay.
It's $4 million to build the facility.
I'm Leon Thomas
The grant
with
was given, but
Wendy
I don't hear
Bozel.
any actions being taken. So
Right. I'm
I'm
Leon.
sorry.
She's Wendy Bozel, and she's running to be mayor of Baltimore. She's a
Hi.
Democratic candidate. You're here with Meet the Candidates, where we're going deeper, having some conversations so that you get to know more about them as well as their plans for the city. Wendy, let's talk about something that's really current and happening. We all have heard about it the last month or so. I think it's been 3 weeks or a month. The Key Bridge. Key Bridge collapse. We
Yes.
have a lot of things going on with the Key Bridge. What would you do as mayor if you were mayor right now regarding the Key Bridge and even moving past that? What are your plans um, for this right now? If you were mayor now, what would you do?
Well, one thing that I think that we need to do is the transportation has gotten really hard and a lot of backlogs in our city. It what used to take 20 minutes now takes an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So one thing that we could do is to have electric ferries here to go the route that you would normally take when you would use the bridge. While we're waiting for the bridge to be rebuilt, let's bring some electric ferries down. They could either work to alleviate the traffic with cars, or we can set up a schedule to or do it also for a lot of the tractor trailers can't go through our tunnels. So this would be a way to move things across the water without causing a backlog of traffic. And I think we should do it. And it would be an easy way to do it while we get the bridge fixed. And then I have been working to help the people that are involved that don't have jobs right now because longshoremen, they can't do their job. And a lot of the businesses are affected. So I do like how the city is incorporating some funding for people so that they can get low cost loans or no cost loans. And I will continue that as mayor.
Mhm. Okay. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and we talked some about this a little about this on the debate, and it's ironic that I had a budget meeting with someone earlier today, and I had another one with someone yesterday. And one of the
Mhm.
things that was discussed in those meetings are that we don't have a balanced budget, and I'm talking these were two businesses that do
Mhm.
not have balanced budgets, meaning that there's a shortfall, there's a shortcome at
Mhm.
the end of the year based on their projections. There's revenue,
Mhm.
expenses, and we went through and continuously looked at where we could cut expenses. And someone at the table said, "Yeah, that's great. We can cut all we want, but we just don't have enough money coming in right now. What can we do to increase our income?" How is the city of Baltimore sitting in terms of their balance, their budget structure and their revenue? What do you have for us? How financially, fiscal
Right.
management? Talk to us about your plan there.
I have about, a lot of ideas, but one thing that really is foremost is the MARC train doesn't run after 10 o'clock to DC. So when you have people that are coming here to DC, they want to come to a game or a concert, or they want to visit, have dinner. They have to plan everything to be done by 9 so they can get that last train. If we have the city trains, if we allow them to run until 3 a.m., we could bring not have cars. So they depend on the train. So that way they could come for dinner, concert. They could come to just any kind of event that we have here in Baltimore and not worry about catching the 10 o'clock train. And that could bring revenue right away. So that's an easy fix without too much investment. Just let's get it done. The next thing is we have a Super Bowl here every year, which is our Preakness. And we need to have a Preakness celebration. In Kentucky, they bring in an extra $50 million worth of revenue, which will be right where our shortfall is for education. So this way, we could have events all through the city. We could have a hot air balloon. They have a sailboat race. We could have fireworks. We could have actually the reenactment of 1812, because I am a teacher. That would be a good thing to do with fireworks. And then an art festival. We could have concerts. This could be a whole week-long celebration at all parts of the city. Because in not this year, but next year's the 150th anniversary of our Preakness. So we will be highlighted throughout just not the country, but of the world. And we need to be ready to highlight all the great things that we have in the city. Then the following year, Preakness will be in Laurel. So we're going to have events all over Baltimore City to have people have a reason to come here to Baltimore. And then I want to offer free transportation from Baltimore to Laurel if they come for the Preakness celebration, so that people will still see Baltimore as a destination. Then we are one of the up-and-coming tech capitals of the world right now. We have Hopkins and University of Maryland and many other businesses that are opening up tech hubs here in Baltimore. So we need to take advantage of that. And again, it goes into what I say, education is really a key here in our city. So we need to start educating our students so they can be part of the tech revolution here in Baltimore City.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's gonna help revenue. Without, I didn't hear you say anything about taxes.
Taxes, I really feel like when we have forensic accounting and we look at where all the money is going, we will find, and that has been done for years, we will find out where the money is going and where the problems are, and then we won't have to raise taxes. We actually, my plan is to reduce property taxes so that we can attract more business to our city and people, because we have the highest tax rate of any jurisdiction in our state.
And that's something that always comes up is, how about my taxes, my taxes? I have friends that live all over the country. They all complain about taxes, right? Everybody complains about it. And then you have candidates that say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And if we go back 40 years or whatever it was, Bush saying, read my lips, no new taxes. And now
and then he raised them.
Right. Then he raised them. Right. You remember that. Okay. Let's shift away from all the platform things. I want to ask you some Baltimore related things.
All right, let's go.
Baltimore related things, Wendy. Now, keep in mind that the answers to these questions, there are going to be some folks that say, oh, no way, it's whatever. And you'll understand when I toss the question.
Okay, all right. I hope I'm ready for
you. All right, here we go. Best crab cake. Where is it?
Well, I would have to say Pappy's is the one. Papa's. That's Oprah Winfrey's favorite crab cake. She has them shipped to her every month.
And which location? Which Papa's location?
There's one downtown that I go to. I think it's in the Hilton. There's one there, and I like it.
It's all that's my place too.
That's why I like
my
it.
place. That's my place too.
Me, you, and Oprah. We know what a good crab cake is.
My 99-year-old aunt, whenever we go out to dinner, that's where she wants to go. Right? 99 years old. I have an uncle that's 100 also, but we won't talk about him right now because, I have another aunt who's actually 105. So
wow, that's amazing. You have some good genes. You have good genes.
I got good genes. All right, here we go. Best steamed crabs. Where do you go for steamed crabs if you would?
Well, I guess I really like to go to, I think it's Captain, now escape me, Captain Jim's, is it? It's right on, it's like shaped like a boat. That's where I go.
Okay.
And I go to Angie's Seafood. I'll take that back.
Angie's Seafood?
Yeah.
All right, I gotta check this out.
They have the best.
I haven't heard of that one.
Oh yeah.
Angie's Seafood.
Yeah, right on Pratt. I'm at Angie's every Wednesday from 4 to 6. If anybody wants to stop by and say hi.
Come on by and see Wendy at Angie's.
And have some steamed crabs.
And have some crabs. What's that? You said you can't buy. It's not legal for you to buy crabs for folks though, is it?
I don't know. I think I
No,
can.
that's campaign finance laws. No, you can't buy crabs.
I can't buy crabs if I'm going to a seafood restaurant. Yeah,
No,
I
but you
can.
can't buy them for anybody that shows up. I mean,
Oh, probably
yeah,
not. No, I
yeah, you
can't.
can't.
But
You can buy them
no,
for
I can't.
you. Yeah,
But I'll be there. You buy the crabs.
right. Oh, me? Oh, our
No,
producer,
I think
Dr.
I think
J.
they they think they
Our
have all you
producer,
can eat
Dr.
crabs
J.
on
and Anthony
Friday
will tell
though.
you I'm cheap. Say again.
Angie's has all you can eat crabs on Friday.
Oh, big endorsement for them. We may have to
Hmm.
check them out. All right, here we go. We got one more. One
Okay.
more. This is a hard one.
Okay.
I
All
mean,
right.
this
Let's
is
see.
a hard one. If you were to have a shirt that has the Orioles and the Ravens on it,
Mhm.
would it have more orange or more purple? And what
Oh,
order do you follow the sports in? Are you a bigger Oriole fan or Ravens fan? Because we know you're a fan of both, but
I'm a
which
fan
one
of both.
is like the team?
Well, I have to say Orioles because ever since a kid, I was a junior Oriole. I would be running the bases. I was always involved with the Orioles. So I have to be more orange only because it's part of my fabric. But I do love the Ravens, and I feel like they've been a great addition to our city. But you got to go
Hmm.
with the Orioles because they're just part of my fabric of my life.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm same way. That's the way I feel too. Yes, but don't tell anybody that, Wendy. Please
Right.
promise me you won't
Okay.
you won't let that out. Okay,
I
please
won't.
tell
But
everybody.
they're doing pretty good. The Orioles are doing really pretty good
Yeah,
now.
they are. They
Looking
are off to
good.
a good start. Looking for another playoff run from the Orioles. Wendy, we have 1 minute left.
Okay.
What do you want to tell the citizens of Baltimore that we haven't talked about here? You have 1 minute. Tell them what you want them to hear about you. Go ahead.
Well, I just want you to know that my only reason for running for mayor is because I love the city. I love my students, and I know that working together, we can bring the charm back to our city. I have met so many wonderful people in Baltimore, and all we have to do is work together, and we can bring back the Baltimore of our past where, gosh, when I would just leave my house, my row home, I never worried about anybody hitting me or shooting me. It was just family everywhere I walked around the block. So let's get back to that. And once we have community back and our kids involved, like I really want the PAL programs open again, activities for them, things to do during the summer, then our city will just be great. It already is. We have the best restaurants ever, like we just talked about. So I just hope that you will vote for me because I will work day and night to help our city.
Right on. We're here with Meet the Candidates with Wendy Bozel. You can email Wendy. Her email address is wendy at wendyforbaltimore.org.
Thank you.
That's her at your website also, right?
Yes.
wendyforbaltimore.org. So you can
Great.
go there to learn about her. If you have
Mhm.
questions, you want to know more about her, I encourage you to check her out, send her an email, have some conversation with her to learn more. But also, you like what Wendy had to say and have a conversation with her, tell a friend. Tell your family members about Wendy. There are more than the names that are seen on television all the time running for mayor of the city of Baltimore. And what we want you to do is give everyone a good look. Wendy, thank you for being with us
All
today
right.
on Meet
Thank
the
you, Leon.
Candidates.
I appreciate it.
And thank you for watching Meet the Candidates. Take care.